Go to your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Happy Friday here on Good Morning NFC East. Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports with you, with my man, my quarterback, Tone Shields, who's probably a better quarterback right now than the way Tom Brady is playing, huh, Tone?
Jeff, you kid. Oh man, you guys, welcome to another episode of Good Morning NFC East, man. I'm excited, man, like I am every day. And look, the path just continues to get more and more favorable for your Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys watched that Thursday night football game last night, and it was close, but the Baltimore Ravens simply just outplayed the Buccaneers. Jeff, you want to walk us through what happened last night?
Yeah, so this is a weird game, right? I'm if there's a team I don't focus on as much as the Eagles, or focus on as much as the Eagles, it's the Baltimore Ravens. I've covered my fair share of Ravens games, playing guys in that locker room. I was kind of shocked at Greg Roman's offensive game plan in that first half. Lamar Jackson throws 30 passes. They can't run the ball. I think they had maybe 5 rushing yards at halftime. Like, what are they doing? Like, you can run the ball with Tampa. And second half, boom, boom, boom. Gus Edwards, Lamar Jackson. They just completely dominated Tampa Bay in that second half. And basically, the storyline of that game was once Baltimore took the lead, okay, how are they going to blow it? Well, they didn't blow it. And Tom Brady's arguing with Mike. Tom Brady's arguing with Mike Evans over bad passes he's throwing. And the Bucs just don't look good, Tona. They're 3-5. And before I let you go here, think about this. Now that the Bucs lost, the winner of the Falcons-Panthers game on Sunday is in first place of the NFC South.
The funny thing about it all is the fact that this is the point in the season where where teams begin to really take shape, and you really are able to establish trends for different teams, what they're good at, what they're bad at, strengths and weaknesses, so on and so forth. And I think it's about time we just face it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes, they're dealing with the injury bug, but they're not a good team. No. They're just not. And look, I know it's hard, to be at your best when your offensive line is not at their best. If the offensive line fails, everything else fails. It's like the heartbeat. If your heart stops beating, then the whole body will just collapse. So I understand they're going through a lot of injuries. I think there's a chance they lost Shaquille Barrett to a torn Achilles, if I'm not mistaken. There's just a chance about that. He got hurt last night. And Tom Brady was only sacked 3 times last night. So he had chances to deliver the rock. But like you said, it just seems like that team is just not cohesive right now. It seems like Tom Brady is not on his game, not on his A game. And look, they held the Baltimore Ravens to 27 points. Tampa Bay was able to put up 22 points. I feel like they should have been. They were very much capable of beating that team. Baltimore, they're not good at closing games out. So again, this is one of those situations where I think the GOAT is. I don't think the GOAT's locked in, man. I think the GOAT's pretty much done.
I'll tell you. Here's an interesting story. Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times tweeted this last night. Tom Brady was the last one in that locker room, full pads, and he was talking to Blaine Gabbert, and he said, he didn't say it, but if you read into the tweet, the guy just looked defeated. It's the first time he's been on a 3-game losing streak in 20 years. It's the first time he's been 2 games under 500 as a starting quarterback since he was a junior at Michigan in 1998. This is unfamiliar territory for Tom Brady. And look, I understand his frustration. He's part of it. His drama's not going away, but this team cannot run the ball. This team can't stop the run. Tampa Bay was the best run-stopping team in the NFL the last 3 years. They can't stop a lick anymore. Leonard Fournette looks gassed. Rashad White just isn't it. They can't run block Tone. It's pretty much all of Tampa's yards are kind of empty because they throw the ball all over the place, but really they got nothing to show for it. To me, Baltimore's a Super Bowl contender. I think they put the pedal to the metal against Tampa Bay last night and say, hey, look, we're one of the best teams in the NFL. We ain't sure what the hell you are.
Yeah, and you said something interesting. The fact that Tampa Bay can't run the ball, that's a facet of Tom Brady's success that's always been prevalent, right? Tom Brady has always had a solid run game. Tom Brady at this point in his career, especially, you don't want him throwing the ball 40 plus times a game. That's not what you want. You're not really optimizing him. In my humble opinion, Tom Brady is way more comfortable throwing that ball 30 to 35 times. He doesn't want to throw the ball 40 plus times. If he had a running game, Tom Brady will love it. And that's what he's always had. He's used to having that strong running game in New England. And I mean, they had a pretty good running game, in his early tenure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I got to ask you a question, Jeff. How much of this, I know we talk about Tom Brady and the injuries or whatever. How much of this do we put on the coaches? Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, you know what I mean? Like how much do we put on those guys? Because there's no way that this team just drops off like this. I'm sensing more than just an injury issue.
I think it's an older team, no doubt. And look, Todd Bowles, Bruce Arians retired at a bad time, right? So he retires in late March. You're already most of the head coaching positions are filled. So I can't get on Todd Bowles there. But it's not like his first stint ended that well in New York. And everybody goes, Todd Bowles should get a second chance. And I'm like, well,
I mean, it is New York, though. They were
exactly.
So it's kind of like hard to revive that team. You got to be a special breed.
Yeah, and he did go 10-6 his first year. So to me, it's a yes and no with Todd Bowles, right? Mm-hmm. I love Todd Bowles, the person. I love Todd Bowles, the coach. I just don't know if he's a head coach in the National Football League. And you're right, Tone. Like, you go after this big drop-off because Bruce Arians ain't around and, Tom Brady, I mean, look, he was old last year. He still led the league in completions, attempts, pass yards, pass touchdowns.
Right.
Like, so what's the drop-off here? Like, I think a lot of it, I don't think Brady should have came back. I thought he was done, and I didn't like how he decided to come back in March, and then Bruce Arians retires. I don't think that coincides, but it is what it is. So you had the drama there, then you got the Giselle drama going on. There's just so much.
Really quick, Jeff, I'm glad you brought that up. Sorry to cut you off, but I think this is really important. I think it's really important to note. Think about Tom Brady's game, right? I know we mentioned the run game. That's been a really part of his success. But think about the way he plays it. He's a very cerebral player. No one, I think we all can agree, not one point at any point in Tom Brady's career was he the most talented quarterback in the NFL. That, I think we all can agree on that. But was he the most prepared? Did he have that gene that other quarterbacks didn't have? Did he take his craft to the highest degree? Yes. Tom Brady is such a cerebral player. He beats you with his mentals, his mind. He knows how to break the game. That he's been playing the game so long. He knows how to take you out surgically. So he's more of a mentalist at the quarterback position, especially at the age of 44, 45. Now you couple that with home issues, going through a separation or a divorce. I really prefer to tread lightly in those kind of situations because
or whatever he's going through, we all know.
Exactly, and you don't really know what the situation is with the children. As far as the custody thing, it's just so many nuances involved in that man's life outside of football. it's hard for him to be focused on the game 100% or unequivocally of the time.
See, this is what's so tough for me, right? This is why I thought even when he came back, and if you look at the stats, he's not having a bad year. He's not throwing the touchdown passes he's accustomed to. But he does lead the league in touchdown interception ratio. He's only thrown 1 pick this year. I think he's gone over 300 pass attempts without a pick. It's just something's off. Whether it's Byron Leftwich's game plan, I think them losing Ryan Jensen to injury, Alex Kappa to free agency, I think that's hurt a lot. I mean, this team's got a lot of injuries. Like you said, Shaquille Barrett, my buddy Joe Bucks fan, who covers the game last night, who covers the Bucks, they got video of Shaquille Barrett. Basically, yeah, he tore his Achilles, even though they won't announce it. He basically tore his Achilles. Like, he looked like someone who tore his Achilles, was on crutches and stuff. The Bucks got mad at him for they didn't post the video, but they got mad at him for taking it, so they just did like a standstill and basically showed him. And, like, Shaq Barrett just didn't look good there. So he's gone. Their secondary, you know what? I couldn't even tell you who was in their secondary last night because Antoine Winfield was out, Sean Murphy-Bunting was out, Carlton Davis was out. This was just not a good week for them. And now they lost 5 of 6. Tom Brady never had that happen in his career. I just don't know, Tony. I know it's the NFC East show, but look, the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. The Cowboys are. The Giants are in the mix here. Tampa Bay is a paper tiger right now, and the only reason I still say they're in is because that division just absolutely sucks.
Yeah, and like you said, this is the NFC East show, so I have to ask you this part. With Tampa Bay being down and out, clearly they're not a threat. But if they find a way to sneak into the playoffs, Tom Brady is somebody you always have to account for. But right now, this is the NFC East playoff picture. Eagles at the 1 seed, Vikings at the 2, Seattle 3, Atlanta 4, Giants 5, Cowboys 6, Rams 7. Now, just think about that. Think about that group of teams in the playoffs right now, especially when you think about Seattle and Atlanta and New York. Those are 3 teams you probably wouldn't think of. But if the Packers or the Buccaneers aren't capable of getting into the playoffs, what team is checking the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's be honest about this.
Well, think about this too, right? So Tampa wins the division. They're going to be the 4 seed. They're going to get a home game. The way it's set up now, they would play the Giants. That's an interesting game to me. Like, I actually think the Giants could go in there and beat them. As crazy as that sounds. So if everything goes chalk, Eagles and Giants would play in the divisional round. Oh, well, it wouldn't be chalk, obviously, because the Giants would beat Tampa, but you get my point, right? The Eagles would play the 4-5 winner. I know it's early here, but man, it's crazy to think like the Giants or Cowboys could just basically get a walking game against the NFC South champion in the wild card round because that division's terrible. Atlanta's win the division. Atlanta, if they win Sunday, they're in first place in the NFC South. If Carolina wins Sunday, they're in first place in the NFC South. That's insane to me. And if you're an Eagles fan, you're thinking, oh, man, Saints, please don't win this division. We want your draft pick. We don't want that draft pick to be 1920. We want it to be 5-6. So hopefully the Saints keep losing. But, man, this is just – Seattle's the 3 seed right now, Tone. If you're in the NFC East, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, we're just that much better than the teams around the league.
Yeah, I know that the NFC East wasn't supposed to be the cream of the crop as far as the AFC goes, but, man, I didn't expect the kind of drop-off that I'm seeing from the teams that I'm seeing it from. You know, the Rams still are a shell of themselves as well, even though they're in the playoff picture. They're a shell of themselves. They're not even leading their division, but they're only off by 1 game. And then Tampa Bay and Green Bay, man, need to start calling those guys Old Bay because they don't seem to have it. And you have Aaron Rodgers calling out his teammates in public. It's just not a good look overall, you know. But I want to shift gears a little bit. You know, it's Friday. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Excuse me. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They play already, Tone?
Man, you know, I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I really believe this is the stretch. This is the stretch where the Eagles just phase through it. Everything's going to be a blur because they're going to be killing these teams. I really believe that. But they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's your expectations for this game? What's your overview of the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles right now in week 8?
Well, Mike Tomlin's the guy I would play for 100%. Again, another head coach I have mad respect for, and you can tell he has mad respect for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. He's been complimenting them all week. Pittsburgh's going to show up. They're going to play. Does that mean the game's going to be close? I don't know. I mean, the Eagles should beat them pretty handily, but they're going to show up. Mike Tomlin's going to have a game plan in place. I think they're going to try to test the Eagles secondary. I don't think that's a good idea, but that's the mismatch here. And it's not Kenny Pickett. It's Kenny Pickett versus that secondary. And Pickett's turned the football over a lot, but again, rookie quarterback. Steelers can't run the ball. Their offensive line can't block. I think that this is a really favorable matchup for the Eagles defense, and they're going to try to get the ball to George Pickens, to Chase Claypool. If he's not traded by Sunday, I highly doubt by now, but we'll see. Friday's crazy in this league. Deontay Johnson is a guy I think Pittsburgh needs to get going. Kenny Pickett just doesn't target enough. They haven't had enough refs together. Whether Pat Fryroot plays or not, I'm assuming he might. I think he's still in concussion protocol, but that's the mismatch here, Tony. It's the Eagles secondary versus Kenny Pickett, who's turned the football over a lot, and I just keep going back to that. The Eagles should take care of this team, but their defense has a little bit of a hiccup with the way Mike Tomlin prepares this football team. It could be another close game. I'm not saying it's going to be, but it could.
Yeah, definitely. But I think this is a game where the Philadelphia Eagles, rip the Band-Aid off. I think this is where they completely just, like I said, they just go on their run or their string of games where they're just cooking. And look, like you said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come prepared. But I think it's one of those games where the Eagles just out-talent them, and, this is, I have a great deal of respect for Mike Tomlin. He's been doing this for a long time. And there are moments where I do question, wow, like, do they need a fresh voice in the room? But then I think about who Mike Tomlin is, and I'm like, nah, it's not really him. I think they're just going through this really tough transitional period. You lose Big Ben. It's kind of hard to bounce back from losing a Hall of Fame level quarterback.
Even though Big Ben has pretty much been the shell of himself the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's been Little Ben. He's been Uncle Ben.
They got to fix that offensive line. Honestly, that's Pittsburgh's biggest problem. And once TJ Watt gets back, I think that defense will be better. But they suffer a lot of injuries on that side of the ball. Eagles fans, watch out for Alex Highsmith on Sunday. That's the name you got to watch for on Pittsburgh's defense. I think he's going to give them problems, whether it's Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson's clear from concussion protocol right away. So that's always that's a great sign because Highsmith, to me, is going to be all over the field. I'm just glad that the Eagles don't have to see a likes of TJ Watt Sunday. I got to say this too, Tone. Did you know the Steelers have never scored an offensive touchdown at the Link in a regular season game?
What? Are you serious? Hold on, wait. I'm trying to think. How's that possible?
They've only played 2 games there.
Okay, the rest of it has been where at the
Well, the Eagles and Pittsburgh only play each other. I mean, with the new 17-game schedule, they play each other more frequently, but they only play each other once every 4 years. 04 was at Heinz. Well, it's not Heinz Field anymore, but you know what I mean. Right. They've only played it at the Link in 08 and 16, and they lost 27-3 and 16. I think the final in 08 was 16-9. So, yeah, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown.
And I mean, those teams were more talented than the one we're about to go up against now. So, hey, listen, man, they leave a lot to be desired, man. They really do. So, who's your guest for today, Jeff?
I got my man Jody Mack. It's kind of a Birds 365 reunion. I text Jody, asked him if he wanted to come on. He said, "Yeah, man, I'll come on. I'll get myself up this morning." Is he backstage yet?
No, not quite. But listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break, and then if he's not here, we're gonna keep the show flowing, man, because that's what we do.
Exactly. We got plenty of time to talk. I mean, it's Football Friday, guys. So, I mean, look, I got my Phillies beat on, but it's Football Friday today, boys.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Palmley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey Postgame Show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Pondley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Philadelphia fans, were cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a first 365 mini reunion here with my man Jody Mack, graciously giving me 25, 30 minutes of his time today. Jody, how you feeling, buddy?
JK, I'm all right. That last touchdown cost me the under in last night's game. Tom Brady, oh, by the way. And I did think the Ravens were going to win the game. So I missed out on my parlay on the Thursday night affair. But at least it was an entertaining game. And yeah, the Bucs may be done. Wasn't this the team that just dismissed the Eagles in the postseason last year? Damn, they've fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. Wasn't this the team that you and me and McMullen were arguing over 8 months ago? This is the team we don't want the Eagles to play in the playoffs. And boy,
you and I may have said that. Not every Eagle fan said that because I took way too many calls on, oh, we want Brady. Give us the buck. We can beat Brady. No, you don't. If they call me this week and say, I want Brady, I'll go, you bet your bottom dollar you do, because it's not your father's Bucs team.
No, I would love a piece of Tom Brady in that team right now. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. What happened to this team?
Couple of things. If you want somebody to blame, you know you should blame Adam Schefter, because he announced Tom Brady's retirement. And I think Tom Brady was going to retire. I think he was certainly leaning in that direction. And I think when the media announced Tom Brady was retiring before Tom Brady decided to retire, that he said, oh, yeah, I'll show you. I'll come back and play. And that's when why he unretired. I think that Tom Brady was ready, willing, and able to move on with the rest of his life. And, oh, by the way, he doubled back now. And I'm not sure if he's going to be happy with the results, either with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in 2022 or the rest of his life. because there are rumors floating around pretty good that his wife's pretty ticked off at him for going back and playing. So I think Tom let his bravado get in his way and made a calculated error by deciding to come back for one more year.
The NFC South's bad. We know that, Jody. But
they could still win the South, yeah. Oh, but they're not going to be rolling through the playoffs this year like they did last year.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to rule them out, obviously because of this. But I guess my question is, can they still figure out a way to turn this thing around?
They could be better than they were last night, but I think the general answer to your question is no. They're 2 years removed from winning the Super Bowl. Last year, again, at the expense of the Philadelphia Eagles, they make the playoffs. They win a blowout game, competitive the next round. They're a legit contender. They may make the playoffs this year, but I would look at them much like I looked at the Eagles last year at 9-8 getting in. It was just a good thing to get in. When you go 4-12 the year before, you make the playoffs. That's an accomplishment to itself. I think the only accomplishment this Tampa team is capable of is making the playoffs and being a quick exit.
What do you think the ceiling is this year for the Giants?
I don't know. That's a great question. I look at the Giants roster, and it doesn't smell playoff success to me. I'll be honest. I didn't think they were a playoff team. Now I do, with the way they played and the way the NFC is shaping up and the fact that they've already got 6 wins in the bank. They have a good winning mentality. That's the coaching staff. That's Brian Dable. Daniel Jones has been better than I thought he would be. I'm sorry, even with a good 7-game start, I'm not going to change my overall opinion that Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. I'm not, and I don't think he is. But he's played better than I thought. This might be another one of those, hey, he just fits better in this system than he did his former system. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I said this week on Birds 365 and on CBS, Jeff, count these 3 teams into the NFC playoffs. 7 weeks in. 7 weeks in, I'm already punching their ticket to the playoffs. Eagles, Giants, Vikings. Because the Eagles have the best record in football. The Giants are only a half game behind them. And nobody is catching the Vikings in that division. The Packers are mediocre. So much like I think Tampa can still win the lousy division they're in, at least the Vikings are earning it. At least they're playing good football. So I got to give them a playoff spot. We're just over a third of the way into the season. And I've already handed out 3 of the 6 playoff spots in the NFC.
And the Cowboys be the 4th. They got a commanding lead right now. And
not ready to go there yet. I'm not going there yet on the Cowboys.
Why aren't you sold on them yet?
Because they are right now the 3rd best team in the NFC East. So yeah, it'd be via the wild card. I think that Green Bay can still get back involved in the wild card conversation. I think all the teams from the West I think Seattle has got a chance to compete with a team like Dallas. So, yeah, I'm not ready to give the Cowboys a playoff spot yet. Vikings because of the division, Eagles because they're that good, and yeah, I'll put the Giants in as the other team that's qualified, at least in my mind so far.
I have to give your Jets some love here. Can they get in without Breece Hall?
Yeah. I liked the Breece Hall pick when they made it because I like the player. I didn't think the Jets had a desperate need at running back because I'm a big fan of Michael Carter, the Carolina sophomore player. The James Robinson acquisition is a good one because it was only a 6th-round pick that they gave up. And I really liked him his rookie year down in Jacksonville. But here's my one concern about James Robinson. He has his breakout 1,000-yard rookie year when it wasn't expected to be the case. Come back the next year, numbers drop pretty significantly. All right, we can write it off to Urban Meyer. Didn't like him, wasn't his pick, didn't quite know how to use him, didn't fit his system. All right, his numbers drop off. This year, here comes Doug Peterson, whose offense we know, we like, we think is effective. and he's dropping another step from where he was as his rookie numbers, and they're willing to give him up for only a 6th-round pick. This is a guy who's only 2 years removed from being a rookie 1,000-yard rusher. So it doesn't all add up to me. I fear there's more there than meets the eye. If you're the Jets, you take him because you're getting him for a song, and you could use another guy in that rotational backfield with your guy Hall being out for the entire year. But I don't think it's James Robinson to the rescue. I think it's more Michael Carter to the rescue.
Yeah. So I keep looking at the Jets, right? And I'm looking at the AFC East as a whole. New England's in a lot of trouble here. Miami ain't going anywhere. The Jets aren't going anywhere.
Be careful with Miami. If
Yeah.
Tua gets right, who's the best team in football? You gonna tell me Buffalo? Or are you gonna tell me the Eagles?
I still say Buffalo, but Miami.
Okay, so, Buffalo and Miami play this year.
They did. Yeah.
Miami beat Buffalo, the only team that's beaten Buffalo so far. So don't be too dismissive. The Dolphins were 3-0 until Tua had his incident. And then they lost 3 consecutive games without Tua. The combination of Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson. Tua comes back this week, and I watched that entire game. It's so funny, Jeff, because this is exactly what I said here on Birds 365. He didn't have to be great last week. He just needed to come back and show that it's still his team, that he's the man, he's going to make the plays, and damn if he didn't play to that. He wasn't great. He had some passes that were blatantly just dropped as interceptions. It could have been a less than stellar return, but he also made some big plays, and he, of course, led the Dolphins to a win. So I think Tua did exactly what he had to do. Don't discount the Dolphins yet. Some things have to line up. They're not in position now to be a Super Bowl contender, but they could get there between now and January.
I was the guy yelling Sunday night, slide, slide, slide. Stop taking these unnecessary hits. You're right, though. That is the only thing I think that could stop the Dolphins. Tua is a good quarterback, whether people want to admit it or not. But I wanted to look at this too, Jody, just from the Eagles' perspective here. I know the Eagles got Robert Quinn. I'm pretty excited about that move. But do you think they're done? Has McMullen heard anything that they're done?
Couple of, and I'll find out from John in 27 minutes when he hops in with me on Birds 365. Couple of other JAKIB guys yesterday were throwing names around. Rick Zaratella said he heard that the Eagles are inquiring on Alvin Kamara, which would be a major addition because Kamara can flat out play. Now, he's still got a legal proceeding hanging over his head. Nothing like acquiring a guy and then having he be suspended because he's got legal issues. That maybe Kareem Hunt is revisited from the Cleveland Browns, that they've got interest in a couple of running backs. To me, if there's one position, I said this about Robert Quinn, and I got killed on our stream yesterday because of it. And who did we have on? We had a good guest on yesterday, and they disagreed as well. I think a backup safety, and a backup, not somebody who's going to come in and replace either Epps and or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but just in case one of those two guys get hurt, because if they do, it's Kayvon Wallace to the rescue, and he played about 20 snaps a couple of games ago, and it didn't go real well. I actually thought that was more important than adding another defensive end, than adding another pass rush specialist. They got Quinn for a song, but I don't know. It's almost borderline overkill. I would have prioritized. Now, I don't know that guy's out there. I don't know that he's available. I don't know that the asking price is something the Eagles will be willing to pay, but I think that's the position. If you can only add an upgrade at one spot, I would be more concerned with safety depth than changing the look of the running back threesome, than adding another pass rush specialist. I hope that Howie Roseman is turning over all the rocks in trying to find a little bit more depth at the safety position.
See, I agree with you on that too. This is now that the pass rushing thing's taken care of. I wanted to see them get a backup safety because you're right. Kayvon Wallace was not good. McMullen and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago against Dallas. He just didn't look like he belonged in the NFL, let alone playing on Sunday Night Football against one of the better teams in the league. And that was when Dallas's offense really got cooking. when Kayvon Wallace is in the game, when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson came back in, they were okay. So, yeah, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what – I mean, you have 7th-round picks. I'm sure you can get rid of one of them or get rid of a 2024 6th or whatever to get a guy like that. But you're right. I would like Kareem Hunt here. I know I don't want to say they're interested, but I know they're entertaining it. But so are the Buffalo Bills. So are a bunch of other teams. I just think the price for Kareem Hunt would be higher than something like that.
Yeah, and I was surprised that they paid as little in draft pick compensation. If you told me that they could get Robert Quinn and the Bears would pick up the great majority of his salary for the rest of the year, the Eagles basically paying him NFL veteran minimum for the rest of the season. And by the way, you only have to give up a 4th-round draft pick. That's a good deal. That's a smart deal by Howie Roseman. He certainly got the upside of the deal. But we'll see if Quinn's got anything left in the tank. Everybody's been speculating on, he gets so double-teamed in Chicago. They got no one else. He basically gets double-teamed on every single play. That's not happening here in Philadelphia. With the other guys the Eagles have on a defensive line, he's going to get his chance to get after the quarterback, and he's only going to have to beat one guy. I think that's a bigger reason for optimism, him changing teams and upping his production, because his production has been basically nothing for the first 7 games of the year, then he's back in a system that he knows, back in a system that he works. Well, the system that he was in Chicago the year before, last year had the 18.5 sacks, one of the best in the NFL. The year before, he had 2. So it's trending more for me up year, down year. And this year is due to be a down year. Now, we'll see if the change of scenery and the change of system works for him here in Philadelphia. But I don't know that just being plugged into a new system is all of a sudden going to turn back the clock and make him the 18-sack player he was last season.
It's a better scheme fit, I will say that. You know what? I can't believe I just went 37 minutes in this show without even mentioning Kadarius Toney. He's not a Giant anymore. He's on the Chiefs. Giants got 3rd and 6th-round pick. And honestly, Jay, the first thing I thought of was not bad Dave Gettleman pick. How the heck is he going to get rid of that big tattoo on the back that has his old number?
Don't know. Don't care. and I get it. The new Giant general manager and the new coaching staff, they were not married to Tony. And if Tony was selected by the previous administration, they weren't going to keep him just because the 1st-round pick was used. But the value is what the value is. If you can only turn around and get a 3 and a 6 for a 1st-round pick less than 2 years later, that sets your organization back. Doesn't matter who's making the picks. Doesn't matter whose resume it's on. That's setting your organization back. I thought the kid was talented. I thought he was a borderline 1st-round choice. I thought he was a reach for the Giants where they took him. But to turn around and only get a 3 and a 6, that's not a whole hell of a lot for the Giants. So they're showing a lot of faith in the young wide receivers they have on that roster, Sills and the like. I'm sorry. This is an organizational step back when you have to turn around and trade a guy you just took in a 1st-round pick that short after the selection.
I actually love the fact that Kansas City bought into their culture here and said, you know what? Andy Reid, we can use him like Mecole Hardman. We can use him in various formations on that offense. I actually think he can kind of revitalize his career just by being around Andy Reid and being around that culture.
Here's where I think this trade will pay off for Kansas City. Not in 2022. They're good now. They're moving the ball now. He's made his bones with the Nicole Hardmans and the Juju Smith-Schusters of the world. It's not like they need Kadarius Toney. I think it'll be a nice little small package addition. And come next year, if he fits the system, if they like what they see, he was pretty outspoken about getting out of New York and getting excited about going to Kansas City. If he comes in, does the right things, dedicated to get his NFL career on track, you got a pretty nice player next year. I think this is a trade for the future for Kansas City, more so than it is for this one season.
This is a big week for the Giants, too. You know, them and the Seahawks are the only game where 2 teams are over 500 this week.
Yeah, I'll believe that. And My buddy Geno Smith. I would have bet good money against Geno Smith coming into this year. Haven't seen what he did with the Jets, both on and off the field. Apparently, just being a backup quarterback, just being able to work on his game, just trying to get better in the National Football League. Some guys who start right off the bat, second round draft pick, but comes in and starts as a rookie for the Jets. Those guys believe that they've already achieved something and that they should be a NFL starting quarterback for a decade. Well, we all know the course of Geno's career, and certainly that was not the case, and has spent a half a decade now as a backup guy. A lot of guys wouldn't do what needs to be done to get their game elevated and become a starting quarterback in the league. Apparently, Geno Smith did. So I'll give credit to Geno. I'll give credit to that Seattle offensive room and quarterback room and their overall way of doing things. You could knock me over with a feather. If you tell me Geno Smith was going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFC, I'd be reaching for my pocket. Wait, can we work out a wager here somewhere? Can I make some money off your foolishness? Geno Smith, one of the top quarterbacks. No shot, no chance. Yeah, yes.
So who's Sunday?
I think it's a toss-up game. I really do. I think it can go either way. Even though I've already got the Giants penned in as one of the NFC teams in the playoffs, Seattle they're real. They're legit. And at home, we don't know how this stable team is going to travel cross country. It's a new way of doing things. I think it's a toss-up game. I think it can go either way.
So I got to do a super contest this week. You're telling me stay away from this one.
Super contest? I don't know what a super contest is, but oh no, yeah. Here's for our Eagle fans who might be tuned in early to listen to Jeff Kerr talk about the NFC East. I think the Bears can beat the Cowboys this week.
Ooh.
And they're an 8.5, 9-point favorite. Cowboys down in Dallas. They kind of went through the motions last week on Dak's return. The Lions had it. Started the fourth quarter, down 10-6, inside the 5, and Williams coughs it up. If he goes in, it's 13-10 Detroit. That game could go a completely different way. The momentum all turned on that one play. The Cowboys marched it down the field. Dak running a pretty good 95-yard drive, 98-yard drive, whatever it was. And then they added an by the way touchdown at the end, kind of like Brady's touchdown late last night. The only thing it did was screw Jody Mack out of the under. Cowboys got a late touchdown last week, which made it look like more of a blowout against the Lions than it was. Beware the Bears. The offense is starting to kick in. They figured out how to use Justin Fields more so than they did at the start of the year. I think they're giving him some freedom. If you're looking for an NFC East team to go down, I would more believe the Cowboys could lose at home to the Bears than the Giants could go out to Seattle and beat the Seahawks.
You got the Commanders beating the Colts?
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? I mentioned that here on Birds yesterday. We're all worried about Carson Wentz coming back to Philadelphia. Guess what? Not happening. He may be standing on the sidelines. People may be able to voice their opinion on Carson when he comes out onto the field, but he's not going to have a uniform on when he does. They're getting the same thing in Indianapolis this week, and nobody's talking about it. And he's less removed from Indianapolis than he is from Philadelphia. So I wonder how Colts fans are going to have to handle the return of Carson Wentz. I've never been a Sam Ehlinger fan. I like Taylor Heineke better. I said immediately when Carson went down, beware, the Commanders will be better with Heineke than they were with Wentz. I'm not saying, they're going to get into the mix here and start to breathe down the neck of the Cowboys or the Giants, but they won't be as easy a pushover. So, I think the Commanders could go in and be competitive. I much like the Giants Seahawks game. I think that one's a toss-up, can go either way.
I actually think the Commanders can. The NFC East is already loaded, but if the Commanders can go 4, I know a lot of it's product of the schedule. You really could say, hey, you know what? Every team in this division's decent because you're 4-4. I don't care. You're a decent football team, even in a league that's essentially mediocre this year.
Agreed. This is how quickly things turn in the NFL, Jeff. We're only 2 years removed from the NFC East being the NFC least, with the Commanders winning the division below 500. The Eagles were friggin' 4-10 with 2 weeks ago, and they were still involved in the divisional race, at least mathematically, which was ridiculous. But that's how bad the division was. And now they're the NFC beast, best division in football, and it's really not close.
See, this is what happens when you get rid of Joe Judge. Everything just changes for the better, Jody.
You're only going back to. I go all the way back to McAdoo.
Baby, Judge that's a bad coach. Jody, once again, man, I appreciate you coming on. I know you got to take a little break here before you get on Birds 365, but once again, always a pleasure having you on a Football Friday, friend.
JK, whenever you need me, I'll hop in with your brother. And thanks to all the streamers who are hanging around for Birds 365. We'll be up in less than 20 minutes.
Just call me your Kyle Schwarber. I'm setting up the offense. I hear hit a home runner.
And anybody who bitches about Kyle Schwarber being a leadoff hitter, shut up. The Phillies are in the World Series.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm the same way, Jody. All right.
JK, good stuff. Thanks, buddy.
See you, Mike. Hey, Tone, you want to come back in here for a second, man? We'll talk a little bit. We'll BS for about 10, 15 minutes here. So, yeah, I still don't know with the NFC East this week, to be honest. Tone, I want to get your thoughts here. Commanders, Colt, Jody, this out. I forgot all about this week. This is a Carson Wentz revenge game, and he ain't around to get any revenge.
Yeah, man. This is I was kind of looking forward to Carson Wentz eventually coming back to the link, and like you said, there's a chance he might be there, but I'm not sure if if it's going to mean as much to the Philadelphia Eagles fans. So I mean, look, at the end of the day, Carson Wentz, he's a far cry from who he used to be, and that's a guy that I don't really key in on his career anymore. I'll let bygones be bygones, I guess.
I mean, were there any bygones to let go? I mean, after they beat him in week 3, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I was kind of whatever on him to begin with, but
right.
It is funny how the offense flows better with Taylor Heineke, and there's more pizzazz, there's more excitement. Like, Taylor Heineke's getting the bench all fired up. Do you ever remember, even once with the Eagles, Carson Wentz getting the bench fired up over the last, 5 years?
It's not even his style. It's Carson Wentz is not an emotional leader. He's not someone that's going to give you he's not going to put the battery in your back. He's not going to give you the victory speech. You know what I mean? And, sometimes you got to be able to read the room. And that's just been Carson Wentz's downfall throughout his entire career, not knowing how to read the room. And, it's like being the best or being being simply successful at your craft, whatever it is, takes more than just talent and opportunity. You have to execute. And you have to essentially be someone that other people want to work with or work for. You know what I mean? And a company is only as good as their leader. And he wasn't really the best leader throughout his career. And in the long run, teams have suffered because of that.
This is a must-win game for the Commanders this week. You know that? Absolutely.
And honestly, they could really do it. They could really do it because, Matt Ryan's gone, so it's possible.
Yeah, this is how I'm looking at the Commander's schedule, right? So you got Indy, you got to beat them because you got Minnesota and you got Philadelphia. There's a good chance they lose both those games. Not saying they will, but you can't lose this game because after that, I got the schedule up here. You got Houston after Philly. Man, they have a late bye, by the way. They got Houston, Atlanta, two teams I think they should beat. And I'm just going by schedule. And you got the Giants, anything can happen in the NFC East. That's on December 4th. Your bye week is December 11th. And I don't know about you, Tone. I'm so glad the Eagles did not get a week 14 bye.
Yeah, and I actually think, because at first, I'll admit, I was against the week 6 bye or week 7 bye. I wasn't really a fan of it. I felt like it was a bit too early. I would have preferred maybe like a week 9, week 10, maybe something like that. Right that middle mark. But you think about the way things played out for the Philadelphia Eagles thus far. I think the bye week came at a perfect time because they were able to get Lane Johnson, right. They were able to get Jordan Mailata, some more rest on that shoulder. They were able to get guys like Avonte Maddox and Darius Slay more rest. Those two guys were nursing injuries earlier on in the season. Jason Kelsey, able to get him some rest. You have some old hogs on this team that are vital cogs to your success. And you need those guys to be as healthy as possible. But the good thing about the Philadelphia Eagles is they have tremendous depth. And that's what got them through that 6-game stretch, their depth. And that's what's going to carry them through going forward. Like, let's be honest. What team can lose their starting left tackle and their starting left guard and still have a rather competent offense? Not many.
Not in this league. I mean, even the Cowboys' offensive line has been playing a lot better than I expected. I want to do this, Tim. I usually do my picks on Friday. I'm adding you in the conversation.
Okay.
So let's go here. Giants, Seahawks. Who you got?
I got the Seahawks.
I do too.
And also remind you, I haven't thought about this. Right, this is
it's all here. This is rapid fire, baby.
Got you. All right, got it. Let's go.
Yeah,
So Seahawks.
You don't even have to give an explanation for it.
Got it.
Okay.
Seahawks over
Commanders,
Giants.
Colts. Yeah, Commanders, Colts. Who you got?
Commanders.
You got the Commanders? Okay. I think I'll go Commanders too. Even with Matt Ryan, I think I will have went the Commanders.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Bears. Jody's picking Bears. I got to go Cowboys.
My heart is saying Bears, but my brain is saying Cowboys. Wait, who's home? Who's home?
Who's home? I believe it's Cowboys. Hold on a second. Let me get this up for you here. I believe it is Dallas. I thought Dallas was back home games. Yep. Yeah, they're home. Then they got their bye.
I'm going to have to say Dallas in a close one. It's going to be close up until about the fourth quarter, and then Dallas might score like some late scores or whatever, maybe a touchdown or two. What's going to be important for the Bears is for them not to turn the ball over, but that's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough, but I had the Cowboys winning a close game.
Packers, Bills. We got the Bills, right?
We got the Bills, man. We got the Billy Bob Thorntons. You know what I mean? Oh my God. This couldn't have been a worse time for the Packers right now for them to try to get on track. There's a strong chance Aaron Rodgers nor Tom Brady will make the playoffs. I can't believe it.
You guys can roast me all you want on Monday. You know what my upset of the week is? Cardinals over the Vikings.
Is that really an upset though? I mean, I understand
they are underdogs. They are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I understand that the Vikings have the better record. But I don't know. There's something about that Vikings team that I'm not leaning in on. I can't buy into it all the way. I don't know if it's because the Eagles beat them already, but the Vikings, they only go as far as Kirk Cousins takes them, and Kirk Cousins is not really a big-time quarterback. He does what he needs to do in the regular season, but he's not a big-time guy. But if I really had to think about it, Vikings, Cardinals, you might be on to something. I think that is the upset of the week.
Yeah, with DeAndre Hopkins back, I know the Cardinals they're discombobulated best half the time with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, but
absolutely
things just seem to click when DeAndre Hopkins is on that team. And this is why I don't think people buy into the Vikings. I don't think people pay attention enough to special teams. The Vikings special teams is really, really, really good. They have the best starting field position, and their opponents have the worst starting field position in the NFL when you play the Vikings. And the Eagles were one of them. That they were just one of the teams that were able to drive the ball down the field off of.
Wow, I had no idea. And it's funny, the Eagles don't really have they have one of the worst special team groups. You know what I mean? But
can the Eagles trade for a punter? Can they do that?
I can't remember the last time I seen a punter trade get executed. I can't remember the last time I seen that.
I think you gotta have open trials for a punter. Like I know Aaron Sippis does have value as a holder, but he can't kick.
He can't. But Elliott loves Sippos as his holder, man. He remember Elliott had that down year when who was it? Who was the guy before Sippos? Was it Cameron Johnson?
Yeah, Cameron Johnson. But I'm trying to remember if Cameron. Man, I'm all ready for Cameron Johnson help.
Or did Cameron Johnson retire after the Super Bowl year?
No, that was Donnie Jones.
Donnie Jones. Okay, so it was Cameron Johnson. Okay, yeah. If you notice, Elliott had a down year when Cameron Johnson was his holder. It just seemed like they couldn't get on the same page.
The first year, and then it took him a year to get on the same page.
Right. So
it's funny how something little like that, you don't realize it.
Hey, listen, man, the kicker position is a very cerebral position. So, and there's not much that needs to go right, but there's plenty that can go wrong. So,
your team is good when you're talking about the punter. Think about that for a second. It's like, oh man, what can we get better at? How about punter?
But seriously, though, like the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and I don't think that's a question. And you add Robert Quinn to the mix, that make their pass rushes off the charts. You know what I mean? Like who you can try to double team somebody, and you're going to get your ass handed to you. Like this is not the team where you feel like this is not the team where you want to bracket wide receivers or double team guys. Like this is not the team where you can just say, you know what, okay, we're going to lock in on this guy, and then we have a better chance. No. This is an exciting time, and Eagles fans should be excited, Jeff. Like the Eagles have put themselves in such a position to succeed, and I don't think Harry Roseman's done. I know we got a few minutes left in the show. Are there any moves that you're anticipating making? I know you and Jody Mack talked about safety and potentially running back, but are there any names that you've heard around the league that are potentially available?
I mean, no names. I mean, I kind of want them to get Kareem Hunt. I've asked people about Kareem Hunt. They're kind of quiet, though. I mean, I know the Bills have been linked to him for a while. I will say that. But no, I'm not going to, I don't know where the Alvin Kamara stuff is coming from personally. I don't know what Howie Roseman got up his sleeve at this point. I mean, I really don't like. So to me, it's in one ear and out the other. I mean, you get him great. Again, everybody's talking about the suspension thing. The suspension won't happen till next year. That's not going to get sold.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say about Alvin Kamara.
If he's still out here doing his thing, there's a chance he's going to just settle out and just beat the case. Alvin Kamara is a guy that comes with some baggage for sure, and Kareem Hunt as well. But Kareem Hunt has been laying low more so than Alvin Kamara. So I think Alvin Kamara is the more exciting addition, but I think Kareem Hunt is probably the one that fits a little bit better.
Oh, Kamara fits too. I mean, my thing is,
I rescind that. Kamara will fit too. Kamara is the exciting pick, but I think the word I wanted to use is, I think Kareem Hunt is the more feasible addition.
Yeah, but my only comments on Alvin Kamara is, and I've said this from week one, he's not getting suspended this year. If he gets suspended, it's going to be next year. It's not going to be this year because it takes a while for all this stuff to play out. I mean, you guys see it with Deshaun Watson. So, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not ready to entertain the whole Alvin Kamara to the Eagles thing. Just not. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't ask. I don't need to ask at this point. I'm one of those people. If it happens, it happens. I mean, like major blockbuster. Like, who would thought Robert Quinn was going to the Eagles a couple days ago? Right.
Completely understood. Hey, Jeff, we got 60 seconds left in the show, man. Do your thing and close this baby out. Take us home.
All I got to say is I hope the Phillies take 1 or 2 games in Houston this weekend. I'm a very simple man, Tone. I'm just going to say this. This is how I treat it, and I treat this with the LCS. Split at home. Split on the road. Take 2 at home. Split on the road again. You're World Series champions. And I love the move Rob Thompson made. Aaron Nola game 1. Zach Wheeler game 2. If you can find a way to take game 1 tonight of Aaron Nola, who's better on an extra day's rest, same as Zach Wheeler, have at it. That's all I got to say, Tone. Go Phillies.
Yes, sir. And Philadelphia Eagles, Pittsburgh Steelers. Eagles win 31-17.
You got 31-17? All right. I got 30-14.
Hey, and on that note, you guys were locked in on Good Morning NFC East. He's Jeff Kerr. I'm your boy, Tone. It's just a second. Next up is Birds 365. Take care, everybody, and enjoy your Football Friday.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.